Presence here today. Tell me about your support for what Dr. Kublasing is suggesting. How feasible?
Well, remember 7th of September, was it, in 2015? The Honourable Prime Minister said we're all in this together. That includes all the problems of the country. We have to work together. There are problems, and there have been problems with this particular highway for many, many years. It's not only a money problem. There are issues of environmental concerns. There are obviously economic issues. From the very beginning, the IADB were not in favor of the process that was being adopted. The IADB had shown some members of the government and some members of the state enterprise sector several complex projects across the world, and showed us how this project in Trinidad and Tobago, for such a small country and for such a small distance that we were traveling, was totally over-designed. They thought it was a very complex design that we were incorporating. We could do it a lot simpler. They also thought that to go with one major contractor at such a high price was not in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago, and that it should have been possibly broken up into smaller contracts, distributed better among the contractors we have in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we agree with those concerns that the IADB raised. Also, the way it was being funded was that there was not long-term funding in place, and we were depending on the Treasury. And that's why it has been such a hard struggle for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that over the 5.5 years of the government governance under the PP, that so much money was put into that highway when it was absolutely unnecessary. Nobody in their right minds who had any sense of economics would have done it that way. There were also issues to do with the tendering process and how quickly the contract was awarded. I think it was done within days of the submissions of the few tenders that there were. And there were so many disagreements over the project that it would have been wise then to have stopped and assessed. Now, in 2014, I think it had come to such a sorry pass that another group of concerned citizens, some of which are included in our group today, actually wrote to the president, because we realized there was no way that the government was going to stop and do an investigation. And we wrote to the president and asked for a forensic audit into the whole project from beginning to end. And you know, up to this day, it's so hard to believe and to understand. There has been no response from the president, even though we sent him two reminder letters over the period of 6 months after we sent the first letter. So it really is amazing that this project has been just allowed to go along the way it has been going. And to see a new government come into power and not stop and actually say we must examine what is going on. We must examine the Armstrong report, as Dr. Kublasing has said. All these issues have to be examined. And therefore, we're all in this together, and we want the Prime Minister to meet with us, discuss it sanely, soberly, and to, at the end of the day, we'll all understand why we're going forward in the way we are. That's my main concern.
Can you just remind me how much money was spent overall on this project?
Well, the budgeted price was 7.5 or 7.2 billion. As far as we have been informed, OAS have been paid all of the money, and the project is only 47% complete. Now, this was why in 2014 that we actually asked the president to have a commission of inquiry, because those figures were coming to us clearly from within the project that we were overspent for the amount of work that had been done, and that stands today. So they've spent an awful lot of money and it's not complete, and therefore we're saying stop and let us see how is the best way to go forward. That's all we're asking, and we're all in this together.